leads the nation in fewest turnovers right now. Can you talk about that?
Well, that's an awesome stat to have, especially for the fact that, as Coach Saban said, turnovers mostly determine the outcome of a game. The more turnovers that you get from a team, like last week, it helped us tremendously in the fact that we were able to change field position. And I think the biggest thing is we try to keep great ball security, and then Greg McElroy does a tremendous job really reading the defenses. And we've been fortunate for after the catch with receivers that we've held on tight. I think that's just something that we focused on and realized that turnovers really do change the nature of a game. And the less that you give and the more that you get, it's always going to allow you to have the chance to become victorious in any type of game.
Are there specific drills you do in practice?
I think it's just something that they really focus on. When we watch film, they point things out if you're not carrying the ball right. I mean, us as a tight end, I know that we do some drills just making sure we tuck the ball, and then we're always watching into the tuck, and then when you're coming up for contact, just protecting it. Simple things like that, they just become, I guess, muscle memory once you start playing.
Did you have your finger?
I actually dislocated it. It happened early in the game, and just tape it up and just keep playing. I think that's just, shoot, if you came out of the game for a dislocated finger, I think Saban might yell at you anyways. So.
You had 6 catches with a dislocated finger?
Yes, sir.
How's a hairline fracture?
Oh, the funny thing is I actually got a CT scan on Sunday, actually, Sunday morning after the game, and it's they said it's almost completely gone, so that's awesome. I've just been dealing with a little tendonitis and things like that, just due to the fact that, when I was off of it for so long and coming back, you're going to have some kinks. But besides that, my foot feels awesome. It's just, during a season, you're going to take hits and pounding and things like that. It's just working always through that.
Has it bothered you at all this season?
Yeah, just like I said, it was just tendonitis has been bothering me, but I've been able, they get you on anti-inflammatories and things like that. Just to really, we just know it as Celebrex, so it's just.
Colin, talk about the team effort. Some stuff has been made this week about Julio Jones and his lack of catches, but I think that the bigger picture is the fact that Greg is spreading the ball around, and so many people are contributing to your success.
Yes, I think the biggest thing is, Julio did have some injuries, which kept him out and it's kept him a little slowed down in some games. But in the most part, it just always comes down to just, I think, a team effort. Just that we always talk about unity and everyone having each other's backs. And I think the biggest thing is when Julio dropped down, a lot of people realized that he can't be the one to always make plays. So we all sort of take it upon ourselves to be the one who can be the facet to sort of make this offense drive, as well as the fact that Julio does get double covered a lot. And if I was a defensive coordinator, I'd do the same thing. And Greg McElroy is getting a better feel, I think, every single game, and him being able to spread the ball out is really making our offense that much more powerful, because teams really can't gauge on who's going to get it, and they really can't come into a game with a set game plan on who they think they're going to get the ball to, because as you've seen, every game is someone else making the big plays or more catches. So you're just thankful when it comes to you.
Colin, the team's rushing average and the passing average is like within 10 yards of each other. I mean, you almost couldn't draw a better balance. Just talk about how that benefits everyone.
It's like I always say, I love Coach McElwain. He's a tremendous, offense coordinator. He's really a genius when it comes to game planning and seeing things within other teams and the ability to really attack their weaknesses. I think that it's always a focus with Coach Saban that you pound the ball, you run the ball, you're tougher than other teams. And the fact that you're able to control the clock and you're able to sort of beat up a defense and wear them down and tire them down throughout the game so you can perform better when it gets to the second half. But at the same time, by doing that and getting so many people in the box, the passing game's been huge for us. We have so many tremendous big play athletes on our team, especially with Mays when you saw him against Arkansas. And then you have Hanks making big plays, and then, of course, Julio always and Mike McCoy. You really can go down a list and just talk about every receiver who's been able to make a huge contribution. So when it comes to 50-50, I actually never knew that. So to me, it actually, I guess, makes sense a little bit because, we've had some good success, but it's always about trying to build upon that.
Talk about your MTV experience. Everybody's been dying. I've been about it. So.
It was a long story short. I was actually in Atlanta. I was a sophomore at the time. This girl came up and said, "You have a really good look for this show. You should be on it." So me and my friends were like, "Oh yeah, of course. We have a great look for this show." And she said, "Yeah, it's MTV's Your Mama." So then, of course, we're like, "You gotta be kidding me!" The fact that I'm gonna go on this. Both my parents are lawyers, so of course my dad's like, "You'll never have a political career. You never have anything if you go on this television show." And I actually did it behind his back. Not many people knew about it, and I actually went into the locker room the next day, and I was a sophomore, so all the seniors on our team found out about it, and they just like threw me to the wolves. They're like, "You're doing this. You don't have a decision." So I actually went on, and I did pretty well, and it was. I guess it's just an interesting experience. It's something I guess cool to put on the resume. But now, everywhere I go, I have more people call me Holla McGee than Colin Peek. So it's like I guess it's a good or a bad thing. I don't know.
Where did Holla McGee come from?
Long story short, it was a nickname I got from the other tight ends when I was at Georgia Tech. We always just joked around, and we'd always say like McGee after a lot of things. Like it's just really weird how it sort of started. And then we always said Holla a lot, so everyone just called me Holla McGee, and it was just like this chant that like a bunch of people would make on the team, and it was just one of those like inside jokes that if you went out someone was like, "Yo, Holla McGee," or "Yo, Holla," everyone knew who I was. And the funniest thing is when a lot of players go back to Atlanta, because I mean it's pretty close, and a lot of people go there for weekends and things like that. Mostly teammates always ask like, "Yo, how's McGee doing? How's Holla doing?" More than like Colin, because most of the people that was just what they called me around Georgia Tech sometimes. So end of the story. I guess it was just one of those little inside jokes. I wish I could dwell further, but it's just some things left at the surface. Exactly.
I'm with you, Dad.
The funny thing is, actually, before one of the showings, I got hip surgery, and I got hip surgery on a Friday morning. So I'm like knocked out. It's Saturday, I'm laying around. I said, "Yeah, Dad, I'm making sure you gotta make sure that flight's home in the morning on Sunday." And he's like, "No, I think you should stay here till Monday. You really need to stay." And I said, "Dad, well, I signed a contract for this television show. I gotta be on Sunday. I don't think I can break it." So my dad was like, "You signed what?" And I was like, and at first my dad like hated it. He was just like, "This is gonna ruin you." And my mom's like, "You take this to the grave." Like she's crying. And then the show actually came on. And then all my sister's friends were at the house, and they all were dying laughing. My dad had some friends over, and they were like, "Your son's hilarious." So I thought, finally, my dad was like, "Oh yeah, that's my own son right there," like, "Yeah, I love him," But at first, until then, he was like dreading it. So I guess it turned out good for me in the end.